Oregon and let's just stay in the Big Ten. Can we stay in the Big Ten here?
Yeah.
Let's stay in the Big Ten. Oregon and Michigan this weekend, Joe. Oregon still the reigning number one team in the country, coming off a very spectacular win against Illinois, and Michigan beating their rival in Michigan State last week. Your thoughts on the game?
First most important aspect of this, Oregon is at this spot that we keep repeating, and it's going to sound redundant. They're at the spot where the trap game, it's not on the radar for them. They are not dealing with some underlying issues that have not been pulled out yet. The issues that they had were in the first couple of weeks, and it feels like they have determined what they need to do in order to play their best football. Plain and simple, Blake, if Michigan does get stops, if Michigan does create turnovers in some ways, I don't have any faith whatsoever that this Michigan offense can put enough points up on the board to keep this game close.
100%.
They don't, plain and simple. And we've mentioned this before. That secondary for Michigan has not played well. They have given up an abundance of passing yards to a number of different opponents. Oregon right now, Dylan Gabriel is playing at an elite level, 76% completion percent with 18 touchdowns.
My thoughts on the game here are pretty simple. When I look at Oregon versus Michigan, I look at, obviously Joe was right in what he just said, okay? He's right in the sense of that I don't think that, there you go.
I have no idea what happened. That's never happened before. Where did I get cut off?
I don't remember.
Okay, continue what you were saying. Sorry.
Okay. Joe, I actually agree with you. I don't think that Michigan's going to be able to score enough points. Here's the question I do have coming into this game. Okay. So Oregon social media team, you can clip this one. The one thing that Michigan has done well so far, Joe, is stop the run. They're 15th in the country in run defense. That is something that they have done. Other than that, Joe, they have been very average or below average in everything else that they're doing. Joe, they can't throw the football, at least not effectively enough. It's really affected their run game. They're 124th in the country in total offense. I mean, Joe, defensively, I get what you're saying in their secondary, that they've been leaky. They haven't been great. They're still in the top 30s, man. I get what you're saying, but the offense is putting them on the field a lot. And because they can't get anything generated and going. I think that the thing that comes to mind when we were talking about this last night in reference to games we're talking about today, Oregon, for me, has one thing and one thing only why I continue to I say support, but why I continue to have massive amounts of faith in them. It's Dylan Gabriel, and I'm going to say it every week. When you have that much experience, you're playing Joe, he is the most, and I said this last night, I just want to reemphasize it. Outside of Cam Ward in the country, there is no other quarterback that has been this consistent. Nobody. I mean, he threw a pick or he threw a couple of picks, whatever. But in a game in, game out, specific thing, he has been very steady here. When I look at Oregon, even if I think that Michigan can stop their run game maybe early, I think that they're going to get things moving. I think they're going to be physical because they're going to lean on Michigan, and Michigan's going to break here. So when I look at Oregon, I think that the number one ranking that they have is definitely worthy. Continue to be the team that you are. Dan Lanning has constructed you to be the team that you are, and you are walloping dudes. Now, I look at the last thing I would say here too, Joe, is the one thing that Michigan has had massive amounts of struggles with that Dylan Gabriel is a genius in. Dylan Gabriel is phenomenal on third downs. He outright phenomenal. Their passing offense, when they throw the football on third downs, Joe, they're the number one in the country in conversion rate. If you can stay on the field, that's how you dominate. That's how you win big games. Want to know how Oregon beats Ohio State? Oh, well, here it is. Pro Football Focus, 10 of 12 on third down with a touchdown. That's how you win big games, right? Like, that is how you continue to win big games. So, look, it's where I lean. I think Michigan can be tough and be a physical game for them. I just think that it's a bad matchup for Michigan because they can spread you out. They can throw it all over the place. And look, outside of Johnson, like you said, that secondary has been very vulnerable.
So where I got disconnected, you brought up the point that I really stick with here. This secondary for Michigan, it hasn't been great. It's been very inconsistent. It's been a lot leakier than we were expecting it to be this year because we thought that Will Johnson was just going to make everything okay despite them losing a bunch of guys to the NFL and to the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Dylan Gabriel has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country. 76% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns. Since that rough, slow start, he has been amazing. And that passing attack is way too much for Michigan to keep up with. The biggest thing, to reiterate my opening point before my connection went out, Michigan does not, if they somehow find a way to get like a turnover or a big sack or whatever, to keep this thing close within range, they do not have the offense to score enough points to keep up with Oregon. Their defense is certainly well coached, and it's got a lot of premier talent, but it's not the defense from last year. This is a defense that's not going to slow down this unstoppable Oregon offense that we're seeing. If Ohio State could not do it, you are not going to be able to do it. Texas cakewalked all over you in Ann Arbor when they came to Ann Arbor. I think that game is going to be reminiscent. I know that was the beginning of the season, is going to be reflective of the way that Oregon's going to play in this game. It's just going to snowball, game over.
Yeah, I mean,
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.
The only thing for me, and we do this every week, and this is where we got clipped last time, so social media team, don't do it again. Joe, you said one thing in there that's very true. If you turn the football over, that's how you keep lesser teams with you. They're 86 in the country in passing yards allowed, though, Joe. Outside of Johnson, they've been bad, right? I mean, they have been bad a lot of places in their secondary. The only other thing that I would mention, too, Joe, they can still run the football a little bit. I mean, they're not anemic in running the football.
Right.
Like they're not just so, like, when we look at Michigan, they're not just like so bad that they can't line up and get 4 yards, right?
Well,
like,
but the problem is, though, right now, Blake, with them is that last year they were able to win the time of possession battle because they were getting off the field so quickly, and then they were just holding onto the ball and slowing things down, and then J.J. McCarthy was able to make plays and extend drives and move the pocket and all those things and throw on the run. They can't do that right now. So, yeah, they can run the ball well, but every time that they get into these third and long situations, they're effed. They're cooked. The drive's over. Yeah. Ball's going back to the other team. That's the problem.
I mean, look, I guess things were a little bit better last week, I guess.
It's like, how much are you going to really give them credit?
I don't know. This is the biggest test. Look, I think that this is the biggest test that you faced, even with Texas. But here's one thing that I'll throw in there, Joe. It's not like that. It's not as if that they haven't played tough opponents already, right? Meaning Michigan. I mean, They have.
Yeah.
And they're a tested football team. So you feel pretty confident on what you know that you're going to get from them, regardless of what's going on at quarterback. So, all right.